Rematch is an online multiplayer football game. It's very much an action game that is played in third-person perspective and in which you control only one character on the field, which pretty much changes everything in terms of mechanics, in terms of how the level of immersion in the pitch, and how the action comes and goes away from you.
What would you say right now to you is the biggest appeal of Rematch to make it stand out compared to other games on the market?
It's really about your skills as a player. Everything, all the actions are fully manual, so your shots are entirely controlled by you. There are no passes which imply a form of automation. It's really about how you aim, your taps, the different mechanics you have to kick the ball. I think that feeling of really precise control on the ball dynamics is one. The team-based aspect of it, because it is really a game which is about like playing football with friends. That notion of really constructing an action together, etc., is I think really unique to this game and really different from others.
Visually, from the stadiums to the background to the players themselves, it looks drastically different to anything else out there football-wise at the moment. So can you talk me through what made you guys go down that route when it came to how the game looked?
We love stylized art directions, and that was the case with our two previous games, Absolver and Sifu. Even if it's credible body shapes, it's always stylized with hard edges, with vibrant colors. And for this game we were inspired by impressionist paintings, and so it's never fully black or fully white. There's always some color in there. We want the game to have a positive feel around it, to be a really collective game. This positivity should, inspire the setting. So it's in a future, like it's in 2055, and it's in a positive version, optimistic version of the future. And also in the art direction, to have something that's quite colorful and bright and feels good.
What was the decision-making process when deciding what mechanics stayed very true to life and realistic compared to what mechanics were a bit more flamboyant and over the top?
We did try and prototyped mechanics that were a little over the top. Like we actually prototyped a wall run at some point.
Oh, really?
And we felt that after having prototyped it, it was not that useful to the game. And it also moved the game even more in sort of arcadey, not realistic territory. And we wanted to, for the sort of original game mode, the 5v5 original game mode, to really stay both credible and epic. Another example is that at some point we were prototyping rules in which there were goal blockers that closed down and opened up according to different rules, either because they started opening up when the ball was in that half of the pitch, or when you made a series of passes. And it was an interesting modifier, and it's actually something that might come up in future game modes, because we're gonna add game modes pretty regularly to create variety in the experience. But here also we're this strays a little too far from what the core and the simplicity of football is, and the beauty of football really also is in its simplicity. So that's why we actually always kind of refocused on credible football.
So when the game comes out at launch, what game modes can we expect to see?
So 3 game modes: 3v3, 4v4, 5v5, and there is a competitive ranked 5v5 game mode. So that's four queues at launch, and we will be adding temporary game modes during season 0, and then we'll have other game modes to announce as time goes by.
When you developed Rematch, what sort of challenges did you face that you had to overcome?
Technically, whether it's animation systems, how do you connect with the ball correctly? How do you move around with the ball while still remaining credible? That was a big animation challenge. From a technical online perspective, also how do you make sure that the game is fair in real network conditions? So with players who have 80 milliseconds of ping, 100 milliseconds of ping, and so this is really a very there's lots of techniques under the hood that predict the actions, that anticipate stuff, and that make sure that the experience always feels fair to players. And from a design perspective, there were probably one of the major challenges was how do you incentivize team play rather than like try to play the hero and dribble everybody by themselves. And one of the design answers to that was the fact that you're vulnerable when you're in possession of the ball, and so anybody can come up to you and tackle you, and so that does give you an incentive to pass the ball around.
Would you say your main competition right now is other football games, or would it be more arcade style games?
Players who enjoy other football games appreciate like a different experience. But also what we enjoy seeing is like we have a lot of players who say, I really don't care about football much, whether it's in gaming or watching football games, but the mechanics, the team play really brought me into it, and I actually really enjoyed playing.
Rocket League with people.
Yeah.
I'd just love to know, when you first heard that and saw it, what did you think?
Yeah, that's cool, football. And but no, I mean, you know, jokes aside, it's there are similarities to Rocket League, especially the fact that the game is set in a cage, and so there are no like out of bounds. But beyond that, I think it's actually mechanically speaking, it's pretty different from Rocket League. I think it's more fast-paced. Rocket League, like there's a whole layer of aerial in the air gameplay. Yeah, from these points of view, there are very different experiences.
I saw it within my first hour or so in the game. The controls are so different. You also described it to me as even like a third-person shooter. So what made you go with these as the controls rather than sticking with maybe what we've already seen in similar football games out there?
It's what we've been making here at Sloclap. It's like one of my favorite genres, and because like there's that sense of immersion, of being close to your character, that's really unique. And since like the intention was really like to play with your friends, to have one character, to be able to, you know, do very precise shooting, very naturally we evolved towards a third-person perspective.
And you slightly touched on the beta. The last one was a big success. You know, you got a lot of people playing the game for the first time and enjoying it. So what changes have you made from that beta for the upcoming beta?
Subtle differences on the goalkeeper, their range, how do they deflect balls or catch them. Ranges of tackling have been changed to some parameters on like how do you have volley targets for volley kicks. It was mostly a technical beta, but we still did a little balancing.
So could you just go through the matchmaking, how matchmaking works with me? Because you know, how does the ranking work? How does matchmaking work? And is it crossplay as well?
Matchmaking is basically built based on matchmaking points that you gain or lose depending on whether you win or lose games. And so we're gonna take your ranking and then find a group that basically on average is gonna match your skills and with not too much of a difference. As for crossplay, this is one of our top priorities currently. Crossplay will not be activated day one. It is something that we'll activate quite shortly afterwards. So it'll be a few weeks because we still have developments to do to make it run really well. But it's something that's going to be coming very soon.
What are some tips you'd say to give players who are starting off for the first time? What's the best way to learn the game and get better?
Don't forget you're vulnerable in possession. When you have the ball, don't hog it, like pass it quickly to your teammates. When you're playing as goalkeeper, push forwards because the goalkeeper is a sweeper, so when your team is on the offense, you are supposed to move forward and play midfield defender, so you provide an option for a back pass from your teammates, and if the opponent team catches the ball and messes up one of their passes, you're here to intercept it before the others. Using volley actions is really critical. Using the push ball action, which allows you to release control of the ball, but just pushing it just a little away from you is really important. That's also what allows you to like catch balls in the air by performing that action. Looking at your radar and keeping that mental map all the time of where are other players on the field, whether it's your teammates or your enemies. Similarly to how the best football players are always flicking their head and taking information all the time to like know where everybody is. You know, when you have the ball, you won't have time to check out, oh, where's everybody, etc. You should already know what you want to be doing.